I'll be starting a couple of household, couple of short announcements, and then we'll go on the presentation itself. So before we do that, let's have a word of prayer. Father in heaven, thank you for our presence here this morning. We're inviting your control of everything we're saying, we're doing in this place. May it be for your glory. We pray this in your name. Amen. Okay, thank you. I was coming this morning. I expected 10 people. You don't have like 10? Almost. Yeah, including myself. We're 10.
11.
Oh, okay. That's 11. Okay. So, I am Lucius Michel, and I'm the chair of the School of Business at Birmingham University. And first, let me recognize my vice president for academic administration. He is my boss. If I don't do a good job here this morning, I may be in trouble. So thank you, Dr. Donko, for being here with us, and I appreciate that a lot. A couple of announcements I would like to make, really, is just to give you a sense briefly of what the School of Business has been doing over the last few years. Briefly, just let you know, we have worked together. My team and I, we created a small business center. That's what you see here, this behind me, even if we change the logo slightly. And this comes out of the observation, that research data, both compiled by both provincial government and federal government, that small businesses, and I will tell you more about small businesses shortly, and they are facing specific challenges. And the challenges they face really are the kind of thing we're researching on. We're interacting with colleagues, because I go every year to conferences and colleagues involved in that. And I work a lot with businesses in the community, and I see a lot of small business in the community. It's the very thing we're teaching in the classroom. So we're trying to really close the gap between the classroom and the business practice. So we say we can provide these kind of services, we can bring resources in the community, and we have been doing that. So we have created this small business center to help small businesses thrive, really. And small businesses, just give you a couple of brief statistics. In Canada, in Alberta, central Alberta, where we are located, they are responsible for about 93% of all private sector jobs. We call them small businesses, we call them SMEs in short. 93% of private sector jobs, they are contributing generally for Canada about 26% of Canadian GDP. They could have done better. Reason why they are not doing better, because they are experiencing a high attrition rate. I would say mortality rate. 53% of small businesses die before they reach the age of 5 years. That's a lot, 53. And the three main causes as to why they cannot survive, there are three main identified. Those are official information I'm sharing with you, and government documented. Three main reasons. Number one is marketing. You would believe that we're at the age of new technology, and the internet is everywhere. Everybody has a laptop, a cell phone connected to the internet. You can do the marketing right. No, it's not working. Marketing is wrong. Second main cause of their mortality, high mortality rate, is financial management. Usually small businesses, they would come up with a business plan, nice thing, go to the bank and receive funding. After that, they shelve it. They put it somewhere. And some, when we talk about financial, some of them is basic accounting. Going from proper bookkeeping all the way to how to generate a profit, reinvest the profit in the business and keep the business going. It goes from the basic all the way up, financial. And there's a very thing we're involved in, and we're learning, and we have the information. Our students are trained to do that. And third cause for the high mortality rate is strategic management. And strategic management is where I'm having a lot of positive experience with my students, my graduates. And Brian here, who introduced the series last night, I was not here. Brian is a graduate from the School of Business. Brian is going to be presenting. If I make a mistake now, right, you can check on me because she's that good now, or you know. But she's a graduate from the School of Business, and you introduced yourself last night, didn't you?
I did.
Okay, and I remember that experience when we started from your internship. Okay, and I think during the internship, I'm going to the details. They're discussing margin trading, is that right? And they realized that she knows those kind of things. She didn't have the practice, but she knows what it was. And they said, where did you learn that? At Berman. Oh, Berman teaches that. I bring that on purpose. I'm referring to that on purpose. It means that we are delivering value, but the marketplace doesn't associate that with us. So there's something we need to do. So therefore, the message here is that we're training your children well. When they come to us, we train them well. And they are doing very well out there in the market. We were in touch with them, we know what they're doing. I'm in touch with Brian. Danae may be here either today or tomorrow or later today. Danae is another example. And we're doing a good job. I think so. And government is on us, review the quality regularly. So the School of Business put that in place to help to share information, share knowledge. So what we're going to do today here in this seminar is we're going to share some basic information. Maybe you have them, maybe you experience them. And I'm going to share a couple of things with you in regard to investment. What is investment? Why should you invest? How important it is, okay? I remember the first year I came to teach at CUC back then, because I've been at Berman forever, since 2004, that's a long time. And I was going to my class. I remember a colleague met me at the stairway and said, what class we're going to teach? I said, I'm going to teach investment. Oh, you're going to teach the kids how to gamble. It's not gambling. It's not gambling. Investment is a serious thing. Second series of housekeeping thing I would like to mention is that this year we have applied with the government of Alberta, and we received some funding to expand enrollment. The School of Business bring more students. And at times for some students, cost is an issue. And we're able to create a series of scholarships for students, entrance scholarship. If a student is coming to the School of Business, you have an entrance scholarship. If you're from anywhere, entrance scholarship, $2,000 right there at the spot. And Berman has another one for Central Alberta from Calgary to Edmonton, $1,000. That is in addition to that. And if the student is an SDA, can apply as well to receive another $2,000 from the SDACC. And the SDACC created a program like that. And there are other scholarships as well. And another thing at the School of Business, And we're discovering based on that, we're working with the businesses in the community. We have a lot of internship possibilities. And our internships are big. We have the business team. Okay, so we have a lot of things going on. So we're just asking, keep partnering with us. Do I forget anything? No. I'm good. So let's come to the seminar itself. And I would like it to be a little bit interactive. Don't be shy. Okay? I'm not going to put complicated stuff in it. What is investment for you? How do you see investment? What it is? Anyone? Yes, sir.
Okay, so you put your money in and get a good return that beats the inflation.
Perfect. Above inflation. Yes, that's perfect. And I put a lot of things on the sheet you see somewhere. I put a lot of things I'm going to explain, and you are right on it. It's exact. You have explained it already. Okay? It's complicated. So you were talking about committing funds to financial assets, literally. And so that you can have a return above inflation, your money can grow, and you can have a decent living for yourself and your family. And that's good. But there is another way we can see investment as well. I'm doing good things. I'm following this and following what you have. From an economic point of view, though, what we have just defined together is called saving. That's what economists would call that. Investing is that let me define it with an example. If I create a business to produce pizza, and I purchase a truck to deliver pizza, that is for economists. This is what they call investment. So I use assets to produce a product, a final product, and distribute. This is what economists would call investment. And therefore, the small business center is so important. So we're encouraging our students to be entrepreneurs, to create the businesses. And that's very important. And entrepreneurship is the future of business right here. Okay? So entrepreneurs is somebody who is an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is somebody who has a very good idea but doesn't have any money. And how you transform your idea into a workable business plan and you create the business, actually, you produce a product, you can sell and make money for yourself and your family. Entrepreneurship. The future is a major source of wealth creation in the economy, and we're encouraging both students and people in the community to do that. And there are a couple of things common in the small business that I will share later with you. So, now we come to the definition, because you're very right on that, because this is what we're going to discuss today. Investment, and we're going to define it and discuss what it means to study investments.
Lottery tickets are a good investment.
That's gambling. Every time you play, you have the probability of you winning is equal to 1 divided by 14 million.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So when you divide 1 by 14 million, what do we have? It's pretty much 0. You have a 0 chance of winning. That's why people should not commit their savings to that. Okay, so we're going to talk quickly about risk and return and how you make investment decision. I have more information here than we have time to share. So at times you may see me playing my slides very fast, but I'm going to catch up and summarize quickly. So investment, from an academic point of view, is the study of the process of committing funds to one or more assets. What kind of assets we're talking about here? Financial assets. What is an example of a financial asset? A share of common stock, a bond is a financial asset. And so there are public assets and there are private assets. I used to do something when I was in school in Quebec. I used to buy Canada savings bonds. Do you remember those? The government phased them out. Do you know why?
So we're losing money.
Yeah. You know why? Because it's in the answer you gave me. Because the return was below inflation. And therefore Canadians were not interested in it anymore. And the government federal government had to phase it out. People are not interested in it. Okay? So what we're talking here, there are financial assets, they're marketable. So you can sell, buy. When I purchase a bond, a 10-year bond, say a bond issued by Taylor's, I purchase it. I'm not obligated to keep that bond for 10 years. I can sell it tomorrow if I'm in need of money. Or if I purchase a share of Rogers, I can sell the share tomorrow because it's marketable. I can sell it. But I cannot sell, I want to give you a chance to participate. Any product in the bank you cannot sell. Can you name one? The GIC. Do we have those? The GICs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it a lot?
You cannot sell them. You stay with them. How much you are returning? Oh, by the way, I keep the dialogue with you because you answer my question so rightly. Do you have an idea about the inflation rate in Canada as you're speaking now?
7 point something.
7
It's above 8.
point.
The inflation rate in the US in June, do you know how much it was? The average for the entire country.
12%.
Yeah. It may reach that, but it was at 9.1. So if you're saving, you have a GIC returning like 1.5%, 2.5%, however your money is doing, you're getting poor. Okay? Yes, sir.
I hear a lot of talk about buying gold or silver. Is that a good thing to do or not?
Excellent question. In such a time as this, a good financial advisor will tell you consider commodities, and gold is one of them. Except that at times gold, as we're speaking now, gold tends to be money.
Right.
But it has intrinsic value. That's the thing. Were it not for cryptos, gold would have been, according to certain experts, at around $5,000 now.
Wow.
Okay. It's worth it. But cryptos are very tough competitors on gold. But commodities is the way to go now. Consider commodities.
And that would be a commodity, right?
Hmm?
That would be, gold would be that.
Would be one of them.
What other examples? Gold, silver?
Silver, even other thing, you can purchase it's not a good example of commodity, but you can purchase even land. Buy properties like that. And a good future in such a time like this. And your question is pushing me toward talking about the bigger scheme of investments. Because you're talking about we're in the middle of what would be called a paradigm shift. It's shifting. What would the economy be like tomorrow? So by the way, people are expecting Canada, the US, or Western economies to grow, and everything. They're not going to go anywhere. The only thing that is you're going to have more powers, and the power is going to be shared. Is the only thing that is coming. So, okay. So that's a good way to invest now. Let's consider commodities. Now, to your question, Greg, would you just consider domestic commodities or assets or international one? What do you think?
A mix of both.
Mix of both. And you bring me now to something else. That you're pushing me out of my slides, but it's good for you. That's good information, right? If I can ask you, what is rule number one in investing?
Longevity.
Longevity. Okay. Rule number one, if you're in academia, you talk with me, I'm teaching finance, teaching those things. The rule number one for any professor of finance anywhere in any university, they will tell you, rule number one, diversification. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. Okay, international, national, different types, number one. But if you ask one of the big investors called Warren Buffett, you know that name?
Yeah.
He's competing with me. I don't know. Before long, he will reach my level of wealth. You don't trust me, do you? But if you ask him what is rule number one, he said, do not buy financial assets, buy companies. Do you understand what he means by that? Before you invest in buying stocks, bonds of a company, invest time to study the company. Because this is how he built his, where is it at now? Yeah? 80 billion? Yeah, around that. 82 billion. Couple of dollars more than me.
So put your bid in for Twitter, huh?
No, really, now seriously, what he did, he has been specializing in studying companies that are delivering value, but the market doesn't perceive as delivering value. He purchased those. As soon as the market perceives that, the value of those assets, and he cashed it. So just study company. Now, how to study company? We have summer courses as well as part of the Small Business Center, short courses, 4 nights. And I had a student last summer. Did I see your hand?
I was saying about the investments, about cryptocurrency. Do we have the good counsel for cryptocurrency to invest?
Should I, in short, would I advise you to invest in crypto? That's the hardest question so far. The thing is that there are 2 reasons for that. One is, what is the future of money? Where is money going? Is it going to be fiat currency? Is it going to be all the time fiat currency, or is it moving toward, as we're going to a digital economy, we need digital money? Even big banks are investing in cryptos, big financial institutions. And people see value as the future in it. It would be a time when we would not need the $5 bill, the $10 bill. We would not need that. We pay electronically. There's a future in that. Second thing is that about money is that money needs, at least based on the traditional way of dealing with money, money needs to be backed by somebody somewhere. Who is backing it? If I commit my money and I lose it, to whom should I turn to say, all right, I lose my money here, return it? We don't know. However, crypto exists because a lot of us were losing confidence. We don't have confidence in governments and banks anymore. They have been taking so much out of us. So there may be some future in it, but there is no clear cut at this point. And some people put prudently, somebody asked me the question, I said, should I put some money in crypto? I said, you can, but do not put any amount of money that would cause you to cry if you lose it. That's my advice. If you believe that you cannot sustain that level of risk of losing this much, if you can lose 1,000 without crying, just put it 1,000. Okay. But if somebody would tell somebody, I remember that person who asked me the question, said, if I lose 2,000, I would cry. I say, okay, so therefore do not put it there. It's a very volatile type of environment. Yeah, that may be the future. So what I'd like to, the question we discuss is diversify your portfolio. When you're building a portfolio of assets, you diversify. So I was going to tell you an experience I had this past summer. Once student in my investment class who came and said, could you, yes, teach us these principles, but help me understand the reports I'm receiving from the companies I invest in. By law in Canada, if you purchase shares of any company you can think of, Telus, Bell, Rogers, or Bombardier, Air Canada, WestJet, by law in Canada, the company must send you a report. And there are 4 key statements that must be in that report. And believe me, people do not understand anything from those reports. How do you understand that? So this seminar, we will not have time to do that. I teach that in investment, the full-fledged content of the course, where we go on and analyze those kind of data kind of thing. But just to tell you, when you invest, you're going to receive a report. You need to understand that report. Okay? Stop me anytime if you have comments or questions. Okay? When you invest, one of the key primary objectives you're pursuing is to safeguard the principal. If I'm investing $1,000, I want my $1,000 to be safe. And not only that, but I need the $1,000 to bring more than 1,000. Does that make sense? But beyond that, I don't want it to remain 1,000 all the time. Okay? So I need the principal, my 1,000 to be safe. That's a principle, we call that principle in our terminology, the 1,000. The initial amount of money you commit, you want that to be safe. And you want it to bring you income. What kind of income we're talking about? If you invest in a company, most of us, we want to receive dividends over interest. But the key thing is that we want 1,000 to be more. Okay? Did I mention that already? I spotted Bitcoin when it was 79 cents. I just saw it when it was 50 cents. And I moved closer to it when it was 79 cents. Okay? And if you invested at 50 cents, you invest $1,000, you have a bunch of it. And when it moved to $20,000, $80,000 even, Canadian dollars, you make a lot of money. At times to make money, you need to be able to take some risk. Does that make sense? If you don't take any risk, so you cannot invest. Okay. Yes, sir.
When we consider what is going on the global market these days, even though there has been some gain on the energy sector, how safe is it to invest these days in consideration of what has been happening in Ukraine and Japan with the murder of the former Prime Minister?
I don't want to offend, but I have a technical view because I don't have, it would have been my right to have a color, a political color, but I don't, I don't have any political color, either nationally or internationally. Okay, so I have a technical view of it. One of the companies that has always been of interest to me to invest. I cannot put my hand on it. It's called Gazprom. Have you heard of that before? That is the huge, big Russian oil and gas company, signing multi-billion contract to sell oil and gas everywhere. I would love, because when you're investing, that is a major principle. It doesn't matter how much the market is moving. You're looking at the future long term. The economy, now you're bringing back to something else, an investment we need to read. What is called technical analysis. When you do technical analysis, you analyze the financial asset itself, but you do some fundamental analysis. When you do fundamental analysis, you analyze the whole economy, the whole industry. Okay? What is the economy? The economy is energy transform. You transform. When you transform energy is what gives you the economy. Zero energy, zero economy. The world will always be in need of energy. So a company with a long-term, a series of long-term contracts, because the money, if you want your money to grow, you are looking at long-term, not short-term. It's a long-term thing. So investing in that company, and I'm treating that company as one of the examples, but there are many others I could consider. They are always going to do well for a long time. If I invest, I'm going to make good money for a very long time. Ask Jim Rogers. Have you heard of that name? That's a major US investor. He's an investor. He invested a lot in that company, and I would love to have a share in that, but I'm too small an investor. I'm very small. I'm an academic. I'm not an investor even. And I'm an academic. So that's, you look at this kind of profile long term. What kind of projects the company is investing in? And what is the prospect of future gains? This is where, as shareholder, you are going to make money. So you need to know that. It's very, very, very important. Even if the landscape is shifting, but you look beyond. That's the short-term fluctuations. You look beyond. You're looking long-term. Okay? Do I answer your question?
Well, I would say yes and no.
You give me the no.
The reason why I said that, in a way or another, we are all being, I would say, crucified, economically wise. Because I was surprised to hear that despite, I would say, the defense of the Western nations against Russia, the country I have become a citizen of has still been sending some materials for Europe in order not to be in total chaos energy-wise. And you know what I'm talking about, right? And up to now, there are a lot of talks about that. Some people are saying that Canada should not send those stuff in order to help Europe. What Russia is with is too evil and etc. So, as somebody who would be interested in investing in the energy sector, which is the backbone of the economy of Alberta, Canada, as well. So investing these days, even though what investors would be seeking is interest, but people, I believe, would tend to thesaurize much more than investing these days because investors are so worried about what's going on. So that's the reason why I said yes and no, even though I am satisfied.
Okay.
If what you have said to us academically was, but I would like you to be not timid, but to teach me as a professor.
Yeah. Well, we need to avoid what would be called irrational exuberance or irrational move in the market even. That's why we take time to study companies. We don't want to do any psychological move, okay? The kind of behavior, kind of thing. We're blindsided by what is going on under our eyes when we forget the long-term prospect of that. That's what I took time to define that. I think I addressed it when I said Germany is the #1 economy in Europe. What is the power you need to help that economic engine going? You need a lot of energy. Where do you get to get it from? Okay? So we need to move beyond even things we don't like, kind of thing like that. As long as you find it unethical, you say, well, it's unethical, I'm not investing. I'm going to respect that. But we need to move beyond that when we're investors.
In order to keep completely quiet, what role is Russia playing in the world economy business?
Oh, that's a very big question. All experts are paying attention to. They have underestimated the economic capabilities of this country. That is a country. When you're going to invest in a country, I give it 3 definitions of investing. If you're going to invest in an economy, you need to see how is that. One of the key indicators you look into is what is called trade balance. This country has, based on the trade balance, they can keep buying for 2 years without selling anything abroad because the trade balance is so solid. And they have the economic background. There was a Bloomberg. Let me give you that short answer. There was a Bloomberg analysis back in December on the Russian economy that said that this economy is crisis proof, and we're seeing that right now. There's some suffering, but there's so many proof that they're doing better than any European economy. Long time, at times many circumstances may prevent us from seeing that, but we have to see it and call the shot for what it is. When we're doing technical analysis, you just call it where it is. Yeah. Yeah. Any other comments or questions? Okay, you asked me that question, I'm going to ask you again, what should I invest in? Okay. Most of us will make investment decisions sometimes, but it's something we should be doing systematically. Tomorrow I'm going to tell you about personal finance and family finance. We're going to talk about some other concepts. I'm going to talk about what is called a balance sheet, a personal balance sheet. The balance sheet, in short, is a statement of your financial position. It's true for a company, it's true for an individual. You're balancing what you owe against what you have. And when you balance them, you should manage them in a way that there will always be something extra to invest. Okay? And therefore, as long as we're doing this kind of management, we should be investing consistently. Small, but regular and consistent, and have the information to choose. Okay? One of my graduates is in Toronto. We have been in touch. He called me and said, he doesn't want to work for any company. Do you know where he works? In his basement, with a computer connected to the internet. And I said, how much money are you making? He said, sir, I'm making good money. I'm not going to tell you. Okay. But even if he told me, I was not going to tell you. But he said, I'm not going to tell you, but I'm making good money. Take time. And he took that because it was in this investment class, I'm just giving you the generals. As part of my investment class, they have to build a portfolio, each individual for yourself. And to build a portfolio, you need to do some technical analysis. And technical analysis means you analyze the company, the stocks for themselves, and you do fundamental analysis. Fundamental means you analyze the industry. Okay? If you're investing in the food industry, food sector, what particular aspect of it is it fast food, if it is whatever, you analyze it before you commit any funds. You make this kind of analysis. So he took that portfolio to the market, and he's making a living out of it. He modifies it. It's not the same static thing. He modifies it, and he's working just for himself on that. Okay, married with his wife and kids, but he said, "This is my work. This is my job." Yeah, okay, and in spite of what is going on in the market, he's doing quite well. And another one I wanted to be here as well. He's working now for the Desjardins Securities, trading securities in Toronto. And they take that from our interactions. And there are many, many good things you take, you make analysis and make investment consistently, not sometimes. And when you're investing, mind you, no risk, no return. Big risk, possibility of big loss, possibility of big returns as well. There is no such thing as investing safely without any risk. It doesn't exist. So, but you need to take a calculated risk, not, okay? You are not gambling. It's not gambling. Okay. So what do you need to know? How do we define risk in finance? When you invest, you anticipate a return. You expect to a certain return. The risk is that the return you expect may not be the exact same level or amount you expect. There is a possibility it may change. That's what we call risk. Risk doesn't mean that you are going to lose your money. It means that you calculate it, you have information, key technical information, and you analyze the market and you make your move. So you need a basic framework, and we provide that. We don't provide it to students, full-time students. We provide it. We remove all in academia, you need to do a lot of math. We remove the math. And we give you enough to make your investment to generate a good return. Let me go back to previous slide, and I'm referring you to this, what we have in your hand. If you look at under common objectives, you see primary. Under safety, you see I put a feature. Do you see that on the sheet? Do you understand what I mean by that? Yeah, because I know all of us, we like to play with little equation. No. That comes from the big economic theory, analyzed or developed by the Professor of Economics and Finance at Yale University. He's called Aaron Fisher. Fisher is the last name. What he studied, and that has become a landmark in the industry. What is shown is that the nominal rate, and there is something called nominal interest rate. When you go to your bank, you say, if I open a GIC, now we will give you 3.5% annual percentage rate. You may say, oh, that's good. How good it is. So the 3.5, you see the bank is saying we're going to reward you with 3.5. It's called a nominal rate. It's not real. It's going to be real only when you adjust it for inflation. So if you're giving me 3.5, I asked you that question in the beginning, I'm coming back to it again. How much do you say the inflation rate in Canada was in June?
So,
Yeah, a assuming it's 7, but it's 8 actually, around 8. Inflation is 7, and you give me 3.5. Am I making money or am I losing money? I'm losing money. I'm getting poor. By how much? That is 7 minus 3.5 is how much I'm losing. That's it. It's what level I'm losing money. So at times when if you have a GIC, you have an account somewhere, you say I invest, or you have a mutual funds, you're receiving report, or your return is minus 0.8, minus 11, that should make you nervous. And by the way, don't forget that. I don't want to badmouth Brian. If I do that, Brian will look at me. So, that's what I bring my students for that. To say if I'm doing something, saying something incorrect, tell me in public it's incorrect. Yes.
Just a question on that nominal rate. So banks charge to maintain accounts. Their account managers get a charge, right? That charge sometimes front door, sometimes back door. Mutual funds are famous. Back door charge. So is that nominal rate minus the charge, minus the inflation rate? So you're not actually looking at 3.5%, because you got to deduct the charge of that as well, right?
Yes.
That
Yes.
depends on the fee structure though. Depending on the different accounts that you're looking at, you're gonna see different fee structures. So if we're looking at a savings account where you probably don't have other fees associated with it and it's just a high interest savings account, then yes, the equation is as simple as Dr. Michelle explained, where it's that 3.5 versus the 7%. But if you're looking at something like a mutual fund where you have fees because there are people that are working for you, then it's a little bit of a different comparison. Another one to think about is if you have a checking account, it's a whole different equation because now the bank is charging you to access your money.
But in the end, that's such an important question. You're losing more than them in the end. Because they say if you don't want to pay fees, you have 2 transactions a month. I don't like it. Bless you. And you're losing way more because I put it simple without any fees. But when we put fees in it, you're losing way. So we need to be sensitive to that, and that is important on this information. And Brianna will be talking about mutual funds on Wednesday. And that is something we need to analyze mutual funds, the return, how they delivering, probably what is expected. I have a couple of people coming to my continuing ed courses. A couple of them are disappointed with funds. But what I was going to say is that I'm sharing this information with you because it's public knowledge now. I just know. About 89% of fund managers do not know what they are doing. In every topic in school, we have minus 89% who fail. Is that true? Yeah, 89%.
89% fail in school?
No. They don't know what they are doing.
Oh, yeah.
They are sellers.
Yes.
Okay? I have stories after stories, but I will spare you. I don't want to scare you, I want to share information. Maybe Brianna will do a better job scaring you. So you need, what I'm talking to now is the safety of your principal. You don't want it, based on this Fisher here, giving you need, Fisher is telling you, is helping you to calculate what you see on this little equation. The R, the letter R. The letter R stands for real interest rate. What is the real interest rate? Real interest rate, if you have to change that equation to rewrite it, to write R is equal to what? To I minus the pi you see here. So what is called, when you go to the bank, they tell you 3.5 for your GIC, inflation rate is 7. You take the nominal rate 3.5 minus 7, it means that your money is losing value at the rate of 3.5%. Minus, it will give you a negative number or negative number if bad. Does that make sense? So your principal is not safe. You need to be, that's basic thing. I'm not looking at the time because when I'm talking finance, I ask the students, let me talk until I fall. You want to do that as well?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Are you, there's any questions?
Yes, you can ask. You have a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're talking about investments. What's the best investment that you can recommend to us at the moment?
It depends. It's hard to blanket it like that. Say do that. Why? Because it depends on your risk profile. Even at a time of stability, some people will take some risk, some people do not want to take some risk. Did I mention that this morning? Somebody one of my students was sharing with me, one of my graduates. Somebody came with about $1.2 million. He said, sir, I can show you where to invest that money to have a good return for yourself. And the gentleman said, no. I just want GBC. So you see, the risk, I don't want to take any risk, my money. But the student told me, my graduate is telling me, he said, sir, if you leave it here, it's going to lose value. No. Leave it there. So that is, it's telling you a lot about the risk profile of that individual. Now, if it is for me, I'm willing to take some risk. I'm still investing in stocks and bonds. Okay, I'm still doing that. I just mentioned an example of some of the companies I'm looking at, I'm studying, and I'm very much interested in buying the stocks of these companies. There are stocks I would not buy now, but there are some companies I would buy. That's what I brought in, the rules of, if you ask me, I say diversification. Actually, they are not conflicting or contradicting each other. They're, rule number one for Mr. Buffett is telling you to study the company, that's true. And when you finish studying companies, you build a diversified portfolio. So, bottom line, you can still invest in bonds and stocks. But for somebody who is extremely cautious, you just invest in commodities. You take a long position in the market, long-term position in the market. But it has to do with your risk profile. Yes.
Can you name few of them?
Companies?
Yeah, that you are using today?
I am looking at Gazprom a lot. I'm passionate about that company. But we're in the West, you know what the political environment is. I cannot purchase Gazprom, and I feel bad.
What about Berkshire?
Which one?
Berkshire Hathaway. Mr. Buffett.
Yes.
There's B stocks.
You can invest in them, but there are people who are outperforming that company. You can outperform that company if you take time to do the study for yourself. One thing I would like to do here, but I didn't have time, and I couldn't do it either. Even I wanted to bring in instead of just talking, showing you a website where you can go. Actually, if you write it down, it's called howthemarketworks.com. It's howthemarketworks.com. It's called paper trading, which means that what you are trading is not real money yet, but information is real. So you can go, you teach yourself, but you will need somebody to teach you a little bit, and how to study the company, what information is relevant, which one is not relevant. When you look at the financial profile of the company, what is the signal is sending you, make some basic calculation on that. So one of the things you could do is that. So I'm passionate about that. New technology, always the way to go. New technology company.
How to market it?
The name is howthemarketworks.com. It's they're all together. Howthemarketworks.com. It's www.howthemarketworks.com. You go there and you have some training for yourself. And after that, you if you go to a bank, you want to do that. Some of the financial institutions, they say, okay, we're going to do it for you. But what I'm suggesting here, even if some people are doing it for you, but you need some information for yourself to see the person is doing a good job for you. You need to analyze that. This is what I'm sharing. Okay, so by tomorrow and Wednesday, we're giving you some more specifics that investors are doing to do for you and how good a job they are doing really with your money. Make sense? Do I still have 1 hour?
No.
5 hours?
5 minutes.
There you go, 5 hours.
Say that, don't say that. And the back of the sheet here. So I summarized number 3 on the question, what to invest in, and when you build a portfolio, how you analyze a portfolio. And financial analysis is a very passionate thing to do, and if you stop doing it, you will not want to do anything else in life. No, I'm telling you. So on here, I'm talking about some direct investing. Your investing you can make directly, there's some investing indirectly, and briefly. Saving deposit, I don't call that investing, even if people are calling it that. If you have a saving account nowadays, how much money do you make on a saving account? Nothing. I give you the guarantee you lose money if you have a saving account. They are not giving you anything. Okay? You're losing money. It's not a good investment. GICs, unless I'm advising you now to consider that, unless I don't know what institution you do business with, unless you can have some stock market GICs. Where, for example, some stock market GICs, they may say, the institution may say, okay, I guarantee you 3% or 5% for the next 3 or 5 years. If that is okay with you though, 3% I guarantee that. No matter what happens, you're going to have the principal plus 5%. But the contract is you can get up to 25%. But the 25% is not guaranteed. You can take this kind of risk, for example. If you're extra cautious, you don't want to take big risk, you say, I don't have enough information, that's the basic. If you have some stock market GICs, but the other ones, forget about it. And there is what is called money market. The money market GIC, money market is market for short-term financial assets. We define financial assets already. There are a series of them that are short-term. Short-term means 1 month to 12 months. And the dominant market, the dominant assets you find in this space is what is called treasury bills issued by governments. Okay? But some investors will not give you access to treasury bills unless you have a minimum of $50,000 to invest. But even the return on treasury bills is pretty low nowadays, will not compensate you appropriately for inflation. CSBs, they are outphased, they are phased out by government. You know that. We talk about it shortly, right? Phased out because return is nothing. Too low. Okay? Commercial papers is the equivalent of almost parallel to treasury bills. The only thing is that they are issued by big, well-established companies and or financial institutions. So you can purchase some of them. Again, if you need to have a certain amount of money, you will have a small investor who will say, oh, the only way you have access to that when you're purchasing mutual funds. And we're going to study the features of mutual funds on Wednesday. We're going to see more of that. Euro dollars there is nothing you can do there. You gotta pay to make money in there. Okay? Reports, they are not for us. They are for big companies. I can tell you what they are, but they are not repurchase agreements. Okay? Same as bankers' acceptances. Capital market is where we need to go. We purchase some government bonds. Government of Canada is still selling some bonds. Not some, they are still selling long-term bonds. They are tradable, long-term. Return are not great, but we tend to believe in academia. We say they are safe. Why are we safe? Because we don't expect the federal government to bankrupt. They can go after us, raise more taxes to pay them. So we say they are risk-free. And however, they are not risk-free for inflation. Inflation is the little guy we always need to be looking and to see how that is doing there. There are corporate bonds as well. There are government agency bonds, Ontario Hydro, raising money. We can look into those as well. And number one, on those are fixed income assets. They pay you only interest. And the interest rate on the bond, they call it coupon rate. They not usually call. But look at that rate and compare it with not only inflation today, but expected inflation. And those are in the news every day. So when you are reading the paper, look at this kind of information. MBSs, mortgage-backed securities. I have such a long story to tell you. Remind me tomorrow, I will tell you because I have to save some time. Mortgage-backed securities, there are long stories on those I would love to share with you. Okay, mark that for a question. I will answer that tomorrow. Or even this afternoon, because we have another session this afternoon. Okay, I can elaborate on that for you. Mortgage-backed securities, how good they are. Should you invest in those?
Are you saying that you're going to continue this class this afternoon? Or
Or is it a repeat?
Is it a repeat?
repeat.
I come with the possibility of continuing. If you are the same, I'm going to continue. If there are different people, then it may be a repeat. So I come with material to do either one. Either repeat or continue. What should I do?
Are you staying for the afternoon? That's my first question.
Well, the plan is for new people to come this afternoon.
Yeah, it should be repeated.
It should be repeat? Okay.
So we'll ask more.
But I will be looking at faces. If I see your faces, I'm going to give you more. That's what I'm saying. So I'm giving just the basic. But if I see faces and say, okay, those people were here this morning, I'm going to give you a little bit more. So I will be going over those funds. And some of the information here would be very important as well. Investment funds, they're going to be covered as well on Wednesday. Open-end funds, money market mutual funds, stock, bond, income funds, and closed-end funds. We're going to talk about them. You need to pay close attention on mutual funds because they are so popular in Canada and people are just closing eyes and jump onto them. Are there alternatives? Can we do different things? The answer is yes. There are alternatives. We can do different things.
Could you repeat that again, what you said about the mutual funds? I didn't quite get it.
Mutual funds are very popular in Canada,
Yeah.
and people are just closing their eyes and jumping into them. And there are many people who are disappointed. Oh, you say thank you.
I'm thanking you for repeating.
Okay.
It's really
Yeah, a lot of people are disappointed in that. So now I kind of given you some general information. Digest that and come with questions. We'll be discussing those. Right? How much more time?
A few. Oh, you're over. 4 minutes.
How can they give me 75 minutes to talk about finance? This is the most interesting topic in the world.
We started only 10 minutes late.
That's true.
Yeah, we started late.
We started late.
Technology problem.
So I hope to see some of you here this afternoon. It's 4 o'clock?
3:30.
3:30. I'll be here.
You won't be able to go starting where we left off.
Do you recommend like a trading platform that people could use to get trading in the internet?
Okay. That's an interesting, very interesting question. Before you go to a trading platform, I would recommend that you do some paper trading. There are many of them. I give you just one this morning. I think RBC has one, CIBC has one, where you go, you practice for free without committing any real funds, or what the funds you commit are not real money. That's what they call paper trading. So they give you, assuming you go there, they give you $10,000. You train in how to use it, and in 3 months to see how well you did, you build a portfolio, the principle of building a portfolio, what company they advise you to choose, kind of thing. You do that before you go there. And after that, I have a printout I can give you of all the trading platforms. One of them is Q-Trade. With Simple, for example. There are a few of them out there you can use. But I recommend that we get some training before using them. If you have the training already, you feel ready, go for it. So I have a 6-page long list of platforms here. I can give you a copy and you will see them. Yeah. Okay. Any other question? Okay, so I shall see you at 3:30 now.
Just gonna be 3 draws here for some things from.
Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Amara is going to go. Tomorrow morning, yes, for personal finance.
We have some things here, some are Berwyn things, some are School of Business things, so we're just gonna do 3 draws. Dr. Michelle, do you want to?
3 here.
Just remove my
Close your
glasses. If I remove my glasses, it's good enough. I take one, I can put them back. And I see here Brenda. Brenda?
Are you ready?
Yes.
This is a sweatshirt